Hello everybody, today I'm going to be sharing my 2026 financial goals and also my lifestyle goals. Since I started the YouTube channel only in April, obviously a few months have passed, so I also will be sharing some of the goals that I have already achieved this year, which is exciting. I will put the timestamps so that you can jump to the different sections. I'll first go over my financial goals, then I will go over my lifestyle goals. So if you want to flick through and go to the different ones, then obviously that is up to you. Here we go. The first financial goal I have for 2026 is to save up £2,000 for a car. So going into the year, I already had a little bit of money saved up, so I wanted to save kind of the last half to be able to buy a car. My second financial goal is to get a loan set up. So I wanted to save most of the money for a car, but then also get a loan set up so that I could purchase the car and I wouldn't have to wait to get all of the money because it would have taken a while. I do live quite far away from public transportation, so getting a car was the biggest goal that I had for this year. The third financial goal I have is to pay off my overdraft. As I've mentioned in my first two videos, I'm working to pay off my overdraft in August of this year. I have a £1,000 overdraft, and that meant that after a few years of being out of uni, the overdraft would start to charge me interest if I still was using it. So I'm saving a little bit each month so that I can pay the overdraft off in August and I don't have to worry about any of those extra costs. The next financial goal I have for this year is to get a credit card and use it for daily expenses. A few years ago I had a credit card and I was using it for my daily expenses, but I was still a teenager, so I didn't have really any of the big expenses, and now that I have a different bank account and also I'm an adult, I wanted to go back in and get another credit card with benefits. So have a look at all the different credit cards, see what kind of cash back I could get for that, and then use it for my daily expenses. My next financial goal is to investigate a bills credit card. Not only do I want a credit card for everyday expenses, but also see if there is one that you can benefit from paying your bills from it as well. The next goal is to have a car maintenance fund. When I have the car, is to set up a pot of money that I contribute to each month so that I have a car maintenance fund for whenever I need repairs or a new MOT, things like that. The next financial goal is to have a house deposit fund. Now, I really want to start saving for a house deposit. My boyfriend and I are hoping to get a mortgage in sort of 5 to 7 years time, so that means I do actually have to start contributing to a house deposit fund. The next goal that I put for 2026 is a general savings account. I wasn't very good last year at having savings. I started saving for a car, but apart from that, I didn't really have a savings account. So this year, I really wanted to try and set myself up so that I have money in reserve for emergencies and also for bigger savings goals. The next financial goal is to invest in stocks and shares. I've been doing my research and I'm hoping that once I have a couple of my debts out the way that I can start investing into a stocks and shares account. At the moment, I invest into a pension through my work, which is great for long-term investing, but at some point I would like to kind of be in charge of an investment portfolio. So I'm hoping at some point this year I can start to invest in stocks and shares. And my final financial goal for 2026 is to have £900 in a month ahead fund. So in YNAB, which is the budgeting software that I use, they encourage you to get a month ahead. So you can flip to the next month and all of the bills that you have there and start to fund those. What I do is at the beginning of every paycheck, I contribute a little bit of money into next month and then fund the current month. Now I am going to tell you about some of these financial goals that I have already achieved. I have already saved up the money for a car, gotten the loan and bought a car. Last month I finally was able to buy a car and the freedom is incredible. I absolutely love having a car, being able to drive again, being able to go and do things by myself again. So that is a big financial and also lifestyle goal that I have already achieved 4 months into the year. The next one that was part of that is getting the loan set up, and now I pay a little bit every month, just the minimum payment, but I've got my loan set up, it's in my budget so that I can start paying that back. The next goal I have that I have already achieved is getting a credit card for daily expenses. So I have a credit card, I get 1% cash back every single time that I use it, and those points that cashback accumulates over a year, and then I get a payout at the end of the year. So that will be March next year. I should get a good chunk of money if I continue to use it for daily expenses. And I did investigate a Bills credit card and didn't really find one. What I didn't know is a lot of bills companies don't want you to use a credit card. They want to make sure that you have the money available. So I instead have just been paying that out of one of my checkings accounts and just using a credit card for daily expenses. The next one is having a car fund set up. I have a car maintenance fund in case I have any issues with my car, and I do contribute to that every single month. The next one is a kind of a have achieved, kind of haven't. I do have a house deposit pot on my budget, but cannot start contributing to it just yet. I'm really hoping I can start contributing to it once I have paid off my overdraft, so stay tuned for that one. I do think I can still achieve that one by the end of the year. The next one I have already achieved is that I do have general savings, except since joining YNAB, I have watched a lot of their videos on kind of the philosophy of the budgeting software, and they believe that you should have a job for every single pound, or they would say dollar because it's an American company, but that means that even your savings have specific goals. So if you watch my YNAB categories video, you will see all of my sinking funds and my savings pots that I have in the software. I keep all of my savings in one account, but I do have it written down what I use each amount for and how much is in each of those hypothetical pots. And I have started contributing to month ahead, as I have alluded to, so I'm not at £900 yet. The £900 is how much it costs for all my essential expenses each month. That's where that number has come from, but I am £250 ahead, and each month I add a little bit more to that. If you want to stay up to date on my month ahead and see how far we can get by the end of the year, then stay tuned for all of my monthly budget videos. Now we are going to go into my lifestyle / New Year's resolutions for the year. Some of these again I have already achieved, but I thought it would be fun if you're interested to see not only my financial goals but also my lifestyle goals as well. I use a Notion template that I found for free just to keep track of these little goals, so I have them split into different sections. The first one is personal growth and passions. I have 3 goals for this. That is to buy a car, which I've already achieved. It is to finish a book every month, which I was great at the beginning of the year, but I have fallen off that a little bit, so I would like to get back onto the reading train. And then the last one I have is to join a choir. I absolutely loved choir in high school, in middle school, and I really want to get back into choir, so I'm hoping that this year I will push myself to find a local choir that I can join just to kind of fulfill that hobby that I had for a really long time. The next group of goals is career and skills. The first goal I have is to complete my teacher training year, which I'm so close to doing, and then also to have my first teacher job, which should start in September. So I'm still working towards those, but I am feeling very confident that I will achieve them. The next 2 have to do with side hustles. Now, because I'm really into personal finance, I see all the time that you should really diversify your income. So I would really love to start making some money from extra tutoring gigs outside of work. And also I would love to start making money from YouTube. However, I just really love uploading videos. So I know that might take a while, but it's nice to have goals for myself. It would be great to be able to have a few sources of income just to make me feel a little bit more financially secure and to reach some of my bigger goals a little bit faster. The next group of goals is health and wellness. I have 3 goals for this. The first one is to complete 4 races this year. Now, I've already done one race, which was a half marathon back in February. That was my second half marathon that I've done. I have fallen out of love with running a little bit, so this one I'm going to keep it on there because I do want to find my way back to running, but I'm struggling a little bit at the moment to get myself out of the door and doing it. So I would love to do another 3 races this year, so maybe you guys can keep me accountable for that one. And then I also want to PB all of my current distances. Now, I did take a screenshot of all of my distance PBs at the beginning of the year, so I do think that this is achievable, especially if I get back into running. I had PB'd some of them already, so I'm hoping that I can keep up with this goal, but again, we'll see. Things can change. I might take these out as the year progresses and add some different ones in, but this is what I had at the beginning of the year. And the last one for health and wellness is I really want to join a bougie gym. I was at a kind of cheap chain gym recently and I didn't really like it. It got me to the gym, but then I got a little bit busy and now I have a car. I can definitely go to a nicer gym. There is a chain of nice gyms in the UK called David Lloyd's and it's a little bit pricey, so I put it down that I really want to join David Lloyd's gym by the end of the year, but it's going to take a little bit of saving for the initial sign-up fee, and then also my income definitely needs to increase before I can part with £80 to £90 a month. But I really want to go to that gym in particular for the sauna and the pool. So there we go. For mindset and mental health, I have 2 goals. The first one is that I would really like to start therapy again. I won't get too far into that topic, but I think if you feel that you need some extra support working through things, therapy is a great tool. I wouldn't really say, oh, I think you need to do it, but for me, I think it would be great to have that kind of outlet again. So that is something that is in the works. And the second goal, which I've already achieved, is to declutter all of my clothes. I had so many clothes from when I was still a teenager, when I was still a little bit skinnier, and I just said, right, let's get rid of all of those. And this year I'm really focusing on buying quality, nice clothes that are a little bit more expensive but will last me a lot longer and just flatter me a little bit more. So I'm happy that I've decluttered and now it's the saving and the shopping part which I am looking forward to. For relationships and social, I have one goal at the moment, and that is to go on a little romantic getaway with my boyfriend. We are finally at a point where we can start to save for holidays, and I really would love to go on a holiday, the 2 of us, this year. So hopefully that happens. Those are all of my New Year's resolution goals. The last section that I'm going to go over is kind of not tangible goals, but more a focus for the year. So these are kind of ongoing self-improvement goals that I had written down on the 1st of January, and I really would like to keep them in mind as I go through 2026. The first one is optimistic thinking. I think all of us can fall into the trap of negative thinking, negative self-talk. So it would be nice to rewire my brain a little bit and start thinking about the positives and the optimistic parts of things and what could go right rather than what could go wrong. The next one is prioritize strength and mobility. When I get back to the gym, I will definitely do this. I think as well, stretching, mobility, yoga, that sort of thing is really important. So again, I would really like to focus on that a little bit more this year. Next is a clean and organized living space. I do feel that I'm a lot better with this this year. So that's just keeping things tidy, keeping things clean, keeping on top of it so it's not such a big job. It's hard during the week, but I do try to dedicate a couple of hours at the weekend just to refresh everything and make everything look nice again. Next one is healthy eating most of the time. I think this is a goal that you can't really be too specific with. Again, I do have some kind of eating fitness goals that I will talk about in a later video when I talk about how my budgeting software helps me with losing weight, which seems like kind of a crazy title, but it will make more sense when I post that video. But yeah, I do want to focus more on healthy eating most of the time, still allowing myself treats but having a little bit more of a handle on that. The next one is get rid of the desire to scroll. This one I have really worked hard on this year, and I basically deleted social media. I do go on it now and again in terms of YouTube, so if I want to promote my content on social media then I will, but in terms of actually scrolling, I do not do it anymore. I don't scroll Instagram, I don't scroll Facebook, I don't scroll TikTok. I completely deleted TikTok and I haven't been on it since the end of 2025, so I'm really proud of myself on that one, and I fill my time with other things now, which I'm really grateful for. Another one is work on healthy communication. Another thing that I think therapy can help with. I think in terms of communicating with your loved ones and making sure that you have boundaries but then also are on the same page about different things and able to communicate your feelings and listen, I think this is something that all of us can have as an ongoing goal, but specifically for me, I think it's nice to be able to stand up for myself but also be able to work through things with the people that you love. And the last one is more daily water. I think a lot of people can relate to this goal, but for me in particular, I need to just be drinking more water, which is hard when you're teaching all day because you just don't even think about it. But having a water bottle, making sure that I'm drinking water, I really see the difference when I do. So that's a big goal for me. And that is the end. I will be updating you guys every quarter. Obviously, the first quarter of the year has already ended. So this is kind of what I had put down for my 2026 financial goals and also my lifestyle goals. A little bit of an update on where we are now at the beginning of May, and then at the end of June when we reach quarter 2 end, I will go over which goals I have achieved and if I have added or taken away any of those goals. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any New Year's resolutions, I know it's not the new year anymore, but I would love to hear about any goals that you have personally or financially in the comments below. I hope you have a lovely day.